Hello and welcome back to Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. Last time I believe we took on the Genmaran Urgent Quest, and now today we are going to be taking on the Brachydios. This is in the Volcano Zone, and so bring some cool drinks. It's going to be hotter than balls. And for this quest, I am bringing along a water-based longsword. It's called Wasserphallus. It's just such a weird longsword, but as you can see, it looks like a Ludroth longsword, and that's because it is. And so this particular weapon, along with this armor set, is going to be pretty helpful for me in this particular quest, because it also grants a increase in water-based damage, which the Brachydios tends to be weak to. So this is actually a new monster. In fact, it is one of, I would say, 3 flagship monsters of this game, the other 2 being the Ivory Lagiacrus and the Azura Rathalos. But this guy is brand new, he's big, he's powerful, and he's very, very mean, so we're gonna go off and break some parts on him and, kill him. Yeah, it's just the way of the life of the hunter. And so you can find him in the area up ahead. I don't have this map memorized as usual, but I believe, according to the little mini-map, what I can see, it might be Area 7. So, take a look at this guy. He is big, and he has this slime that he uses that is incredibly explosive. And if you get it on yourself, like right here, you have to roll in order to get it off, or I believe you could use a cleanser, or I think a deodorant. It's one of those 2. But if you don't, that slime will explode and it will do considerable amounts of damage to you. As well as those puddles. Do not step in the puddles. It kind of looks like fun, just don't step in the puddles, because you'll get the slime blight as well. So this pretty much is going to be like the Nickelodeon slime fest that you've probably seen as a kid. So there's going to be a lot of it. You have to avoid it at all costs, otherwise you're going to be in for a world of hurt. And now that he's in rage mode, in most cases, whenever he punches the ground, the Brachydios will not leave slime. Instead, it will just explode on impact. There are a few cases where it doesn't, like if he does kind of a sidestep, or if he punches you directly. But there's something to really keep in mind with this monster, especially if you're using a longsword. The Fade Slash is your best friend. One of the things this monster does really well is he's great at frontal attacks, so going after him head on is usually not the best idea. You kind of want to flank him from the sides and stay under him. But if you do a headlong attack on him, he's likely going to counterattack and he's going to hit you, and it's just not good. And so let's say if he's going to turn and face you while you're in the middle of an attack, the Fade Slash can send you left and right. So in cases like that, that's a very scary oh shit moment when it comes to this monster, and the Fade Slash will help you get out of the way of being struck by that at the last second. And so it's very useful. But if you're up close to him like that, when he begins the animation, well, you're kind of screwed. And that move, that little jumping attack that he does, is surprisingly easy to get hit by in some cases. So what you want to do is actually you want to run towards him. Because if you run back, he tends to change up the distance where he jumps. It's like he kind of calculates your position. So it's better if you actually run towards him. That way you could just run under him and you'll avoid it just fine. You could probably do the sides too, but I find running towards him to be more reliable in that instance. When he's directly on the ground, that's when you kind of want to be very careful about taking him head on. That's especially considering when he's in rage mode. When he is in his normal state like this, it's fine, because he's going to move a lot slower and whatnot. And this monster is classified as a Brute Wyvern, and he is like the Brute Wyvern that has kind of a mix of Devil Joe in it, in that he gets enraged a little bit easier, I find, in most as opposed to other Brute Wyverns. And he also is very resistant, or he's very quick to recover from being knocked over or in traps, especially if he's in rage mode. I know that's true with all monsters, but in this guy's case, it's a little bit more apparent. Because there's been a couple of times where I just find like, whoa, what the hell? He just got in that trap and now he's back up. But I also have a feeling that he is a little bit more prone to getting exhausted too. But that's probably just in the case of this particular game. Because I swear to God, in Monster Hunter Generations, this guy was buffed to hell. A lot of his attacks tend to do a lot of damage. And though in this case, he's a high rank monster and I'm using G rank armor, so he's not going to do as much damage to me normally, but he still can do considerable amounts in any game that he's in, but I believe in Generations, he actually does quite a bit more. It's actually kind of shocking. So health potions are kind of a must with this guy. That and Cha-Cha and Kayamba, having them around, not just as decoys, but also if they have either the dances to prevent hot and cold effects, or the dances to help you recover health. Those will work wonders for this particular quest. Assuming, of course, that they actually do it, because, well, Shakalakas are not the most reliable of creatures, and I think we all know that. And what is Cha-Cha doing right there? He's, is he even going to complete that dance? Oh, okay, it's a small health recovery, so that's fine. Alright, and now this guy is back in rage mode. He has 3 breakable parts, so both his arms can be broken and his head can be broken. Also, his tail can be cut off. But if we're going to go back to the arms real quick, even if his arms are broken, he can still slime you with a direct punch, which I kind of find cheap, because if you look closely, there's not a whole lot of surface area on his arms left that can really hold that explosive slime, so it's kind of cheating in his case, where he can just punch you and still do a full slime. And this is an attack that you really want to look out for. That's a small area of effect attack. It does quite a bit of damage, and it's just overall not a good attack to be hit by. I also brought flash bombs on this quest. I didn't really need them, but it's one of those cases where if he's in rage mode, it's a nice item to have just to make sure he keeps still, because this monster loves to move around. And I think that's very noticeable by now. Like, holy crap, this guy will not sit still. But thankfully, water-based weapons are just, they're so good against him. I think at one point he had a weakness to ice. I'm not 100% sure. Usually I could have sworn I use ice against this monster more than I use water-based weapons. But I could have read something wrong, because I look up the information on monsters whenever I hunt them, just, you know, out of curiosity. I like to know about the monsters, and the Monster Hunter Wiki is a great place to find out information on all these monsters. Even if it's not for gameplay or just hunting in general, if you just want to know the ecology of the monsters, it's a really great site. Alright, what else to take in mind with this monster? Like, holy crap, he is just, he has a lot of health too. And I didn't bring traps on this quest. The reason why is, frankly, I just forgot. Otherwise, I probably would have, this fight would have been over by now, I would imagine. But there is a use for the flash bomb. It really keeps him still when you need it most. I thought he was actually still in rage mode during this time, but apparently not. So he's going to stay in a stun state a little bit longer than normal, but that's perfectly fine, because that means more free hits. And I'm not sure what Cha-Cha's doing right there. I think he headbutted the Brachydios. And now we're going to be coming on to the, I would say, the last leg of the fight. Just because this is just kind of a mental marker when I was looking over the footage. We're going to take a few more hits here. We're going to trade blows, and then he's going to limp back to the previous area that we were just in. I think he goes into area 5. It's the one where you can find the Uragon at. I wish I had a map up. And unfortunately, I don't. But you might be noticing that I'm purposely not sprinting right here. And that is to give a little bit more room between me and the monster when I go into the next area. Because it's actually kind of frustrating to get into the next area only to find out the monster is literally right behind you. And another thing you might have noticed is that the area that I just came out of, the entrance is actually quite closer than it looks. So it's very easy to accidentally go into the next area without meaning to. And that was the Brachydios. You know, he's a big monster, he's pretty powerful, and he can take a lot of damage, you know. You can get something from him called Mystery Slime, and that is used to make his armor, of course, and as well as the most the most broken items in the game, and that is the slime-based weapons, and those are fantastic. And in fact, up till now, I've been purposely not using them, because they're so incredibly broken. But what else? You can get that Mystery Slime literally either from carving him, or sometimes whenever he's doing his little punch attack where he's going forward and he's punching the ground. When those globs of slime explode, sometimes they drop a shiny, and that shiny will be Mystery Slime. So that's a good way to kind of grind for slimes if you're looking for it. But anyways, that is about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time. Take care.